After a horrible date, the waitress whispered, I would have stayed, and everything changed. He shifted in the metal chair of the bustling spaceport diner, rubbing his forehead. The lights above flickered in soft pulses, and the hum of hover vehicles outside mixed with the chatter of humans and aliens alike. He had thought the date would be fine. At least not catastrophic. He glanced at the alien sitting across from him. Tall, with luminous green skin that shimmered like liquid emerald under the diner's lights, and eyes that reflected curiosity but no warmth. She sipped from a crystalline drink that changed color with her mood, or so she said. Jonathan had tried to make conversation, sharing jokes about human culture and the quirks of his small home planet, but she barely laughed. Instead, she kept correcting his pronunciation of her species, homeworld names, and every time she did, Jonathan's heart sank a little more. Jonathan, why do humans always think humor is universal? She said at last, her voice smooth but sharp, like ice flowing over metal. Jonathan blinked. I thought it might be, he said slowly, trying to sound confident but feeling small. Her lips pressed into a polite line, and she looked away toward the window, where a small group of alien travelers floated in zero gravity, waving to each other in some silent language. Jonathan slumped in his chair. This was going poorly, worse than he had imagined. He remembered how he had nervously chosen this diner because it had a reputation for serving interstellar delicacies that catered to both humans and aliens. He had imagined laughter, shared bites of glowing desserts, perhaps a little spark of connection. Instead, it felt like he had been placed on a stage, and everyone else was watching his social awkwardness like a performance. When the date ended, she left without even saying goodbye properly, floating out of the diner as if gravity didn't bother her at all. Jonathan was left with the strange blue dessert untouched. He sighed and pushed the plate closer, thinking maybe he would at least eat it. The first bite was cold, sweet, and tasted faintly of starfruit and moonberries. Not bad, but it didn't make up for the humiliation. The diner slowly emptied. Waiters and waitresses floated among the tables, their movements precise, careful, almost elegant in zero gravity. Some were human, some alien, and a few seemed almost mechanical in the way they carried trays without effort. Yet Jonathan felt invisible, sitting alone in the fading hum of chatter and laughter he couldn't be part of. Then he felt a presence, a soft, familiar one. Rough night, he looked up. A young waitress with short hair and eyes that seemed to shimmer with quiet understanding was standing before him. She wore the standard diner uniform, a simple white jumpsuit with blue trim, but her smile made it feel like the uniform had a life of its own. Yeah, Jonathan said, forcing a small smile. He had no idea what to say to her. She leaned closer, lowering her voice until it was almost a whisper. I would have stayed. Jonathan's heart skipped a beat. Excuse me, she smiled but didn't answer. Instead, she turned and disappeared toward the kitchen. He blinked, confused, staring after her. Was she joking? Was this some odd flirtation or something else? He tried to shake it off, but the words lingered. I would have stayed. For the first time that evening, Jonathan didn't feel alone. He felt seen. Somehow, someone understood that he had tried, even if it had failed spectacularly. He finished his dessert slowly, savoring the sweetness, letting the memory of her whisper echo in his mind. It was a small spark, but it felt like the start of something new, something he couldn't quite name yet. As he paid the bill, he noticed a small object left on the table, a pendant, smooth, metallic, and glowing faintly. He picked it up and examined it. It felt warm in his hand, almost like it was alive. The glow pulsed softly, in sync with his own heartbeat, or at least it seemed to. Jonathan turned it over in his hand. There were symbols etched into it, symbols that he didn't recognize. They shifted slightly when he looked directly at them, like the pendant was breathing or thinking. Very curious, he murmured. He slipped the pendant into his pocket and left the diner. The night air of the spaceport was cool, filled with the scents of exotic foods, engine oil, and strange flowers sold by vendors who floated in zero-gravity booths. Jonathan walked slowly, not sure where he was going. The stars beyond the glass dome stretched endlessly, and he felt both incredibly small and infinitely alive. As he wandered, he felt a tug in his mind, gentle and insistent. The pendant was activating. A holographic map projected from it, floating in the air like a small constellation. One point blinked insistently, a small dot labeled Lyra's world. Jonathan stared. The name made his stomach flip. Lyra. Could it really be connected to her? Was this a joke, some advanced piece of tech meant to toy with lonely humans? He touched the hologram. The map rippled under his fingers. Coordinates, star routes, and wormhole paths appeared, all pointing to a distant region of the galaxy. Jonathan's mind raced. Traveling this far alone was dangerous, perhaps impossible for someone like him. Yet the pendant's glow seemed to reassure him. Somehow it seemed to say, "You can do this. You were meant for more." He thought of Lyra's whisper again, "I would have stayed." Maybe it wasn't just a fleeting moment. Maybe it was an invitation. The spaceport around him felt different now. Every alien, every human, every hovering vehicle seemed to hum with possibility. Jonathan felt a spark of courage he had never known before. He took a deep breath, adjusting the pendant in his pocket. "All right," he whispered to himself. "Let's see where this goes." He found a small ship rental booth. The clerk, a cheerful alien with 4 arms and eyes that rotated like gyroscopes, raised a brow as he saw Jonathan approach. "I need a ship," Jonathan said, voice slightly trembling but firm. "Somewhere far, Lyra's world if possible." The clerk laughed softly. "Ambitious human," he said, gesturing toward a row of sleek starcraft. "Most come here to stay in the port, not chase whispers across the galaxy." Jonathan smiled faintly. "I guess I'm not most humans." The clerk's eyes widened. "We'll see about that." He guided Jonathan to a small, single-pilot ship with a curious shimmer along its hull. "This one's special," he said. "It responds to its pilot, almost like it's alive." Jonathan stepped inside. The controls hummed under his fingers. The ship seemed to recognize him, lights flickering as if greeting an old friend. He activated the hyperdrive and felt a thrill as the stars stretched and twisted, then collapsed into streaks of light as the ship leapt into the first wormhole. For the first time in his life, Jonathan felt like he was exactly where he was meant to be. Not on the horrible date, not in the diner, but here on the edge of something vast and unknown, guided by a whisper he could never forget. The pendant pulsed again, brighter this time. It wasn't just glowing. It was pointing, calling him onward. Jonathan leaned back in his seat, hands steady on the controls, and allowed himself to smile. The journey was just beginning. And somehow, he knew, everything was about to change. The hum of the starship's engines became a steady rhythm, lulling Jonathan into a strange combination of calm and excitement. He had left the diner far behind, the city lights of the spaceport shrinking into tiny specks as the ship glided past planets and stars. The pendant rested against his chest, glowing softly through his shirt. It pulsed like a heartbeat, and Jonathan realized it wasn't just a piece of jewelry. It was alive in some way, aware perhaps of him. He ran a hand along the smooth metal of the cockpit. "All right," he whispered, more to himself than the ship. "Lyra's world, I'm coming." The stars outside shifted as the hyperdrive engaged. The familiar pinpricks of light stretched into bright lines, and Jonathan leaned back, feeling the gentle pressure of acceleration. Time seemed to blur, but the pendant remained steady, its soft glow a comforting anchor. He had no map, no experience traveling alone across unknown wormholes, but somehow he trusted it. Hours passed, though Jonathan could not be sure. He floated slightly, weightless in the cockpit, staring at the infinite stretch of space. He thought of Lyra, her whisper, the kind eyes that had seen something in him. Maybe he had misread it at first, thinking it was flirtation or curiosity. but now he realized it might have been something much deeper, something like faith. He closed his eyes and let his mind wander. For the first time in years, he allowed himself to imagine the possibilities of life beyond his tiny home planet. He saw humans and aliens working together, building cities that floated above clouds, sharing knowledge freely, creating art that spanned entire planets. He saw humans rising to challenges with ingenuity, creativity, and compassion, small acts that echoed across the galaxy. When he opened his eyes, the pendant's glow had changed. It projected a faint hologram of a planet surrounded by 3 moons, with intricate patterns of energy flowing around it like invisible rivers. Jonathan stared, amazed. This wasn't just a location, it was a message, a blueprint, a welcome. The ship's AI, a soft, melodic voice, spoke for the first time. Coordinates confirmed. Lyra's world is within reachable distance via wormhole path Delta 9. Jonathan nodded. Thank you, he said, feeling oddly formal. And thank you for bringing me this far. You are welcome, Jonathan, the AI replied. The pendant's energy signature is unique. Its presence indicates purpose and readiness. It guided you here. Jonathan blinked. Readiness for what? The AI's response was simple. Discovery, growth, connection. He smiled faintly. He didn't fully understand, but he felt a warmth in his chest. Every step he had taken, every awkward moment, every failed attempt at social interaction, it had led him here. Somehow, the galaxy had chosen him for something greater than his small, predictable life. The next hours were a blur of hyperspace jumps, navigation corrections, and quiet observation. Jonathan watched planets pass by, each unique in color and form. One was covered in violet forests that seemed to glow under a distant sun. Another was an ocean world, its surface shimmering with bioluminescent life. He realized that humans were not alone in the universe, and yet they were capable of immense creativity and resilience. During a brief rest period, Jonathan closed his eyes again. This time, he let himself dream, not just about Lyra, but about the galaxy itself. He saw humans floating alongside alien engineers in zero-gravity gardens, constructing habitats that seemed impossible. He saw children of all species learning together, sharing knowledge, building bridges, both literal and figurative. He saw music that resonated across worlds, art that captured entire star systems, and communities that thrived through cooperation. He woke with a start. The pendant was brighter now, projecting a faint, swirling light across the cockpit. He leaned closer. Small symbols danced in the air, shifting in patterns he couldn't decipher, yet somehow understood. They seemed to represent not just coordinates, but ideas, concepts of connection, trust, curiosity, and growth. Jonathan reached out, touching the holograms with his fingers. A warmth spread through him. I think I understand, he murmured. This isn't just a place. It's a chance. The ship's AI confirmed. Lyra's world is not merely a destination. It is a proving ground, a place to demonstrate potential, creativity, and understanding. It will test humans' ability to rise beyond doubt and hesitation. Jonathan swallowed. He had been afraid all his life, afraid of failing, of looking foolish, of not being enough. But now, the galaxy itself seemed to be telling him he could be more. He felt a courage he had never known before, a spark that refused to be extinguished. The next jump brought him closer to the edge of a wormhole cluster. He studied the patterns carefully. The pendant pulsed with a soft rhythm, guiding his hands as he adjusted the ship's controls. He realized that it wasn't just guiding him physically, it was guiding him mentally, encouraging him to trust his instincts, to take calculated risks, to embrace uncertainty. Jonathan smiled. "All right, let's do this," he said. He engaged the wormhole, and the stars stretched into long lines again, twisting and bending around him. He felt a rush of exhilaration unlike anything he had experienced. The galaxy was alive, and he was a part of it. When he emerged on the other side, he was greeted by a breathtaking view. A planet floated in the distance, larger than he had imagined, with shimmering clouds of iridescent colors and structures that glowed softly in the light of three suns. Rings of crystalline energy encircled it, shifting in patterns like ribbons in the wind. Jonathan's breath caught in his throat. "Lyra's world," he whispered. The pendant glowed brighter as if confirming the name. He began a careful descent, navigating through the energy rings. The planet's surface was a landscape of floating platforms, connected by streams of light that pulsed like veins. Hovering gardens, luminous towers, and bridges of pure energy stretched as far as he could see. Humans and aliens moved together, collaborating seamlessly. Children played in zero-gravity fields, their laughter echoing through the open air. Jonathan felt a swell of pride. This was what he had imagined in his dreams, the potential of humanity, fully realized, working alongside others to build something magnificent. And somehow, he had been chosen to be a part of it. The ship landed gently on a platform and the pendant's glow dimmed. Jonathan stepped out, his feet touching the soft, glowing surface. He felt a sense of wonder that went beyond anything he had ever known. Every detail of the planet seemed alive, infused with energy and purpose. A figure approached, human with short hair and eyes that seemed to shine with the same understanding he had felt in the diner. "Lyra," she smiled warmly. "Welcome, Jonathan," she said. "I've been expecting you," Jonathan blinked. "You knew I would come," Lyra shook her head slightly, laughing softly. "No, but I trusted that you would. That's why I whispered. Sometimes humans just need a nudge, a reminder that they are capable of more than they believe." Jonathan felt a lump in his throat. All his life he had doubted himself. He had worried that he was too awkward, too small, too insignificant. Yet here he was, standing on a world that celebrated curiosity, creativity, and collaboration. And someone, Lyra, had seen that potential before he had. She extended a hand. "Come with me. There's much to show you. The galaxy is larger and more wonderful than you can imagine, and it's ready for humans like you to explore it." Jonathan took her hand, feeling a thrill of excitement mixed with nervous anticipation. For the first time, he felt fully alive. He was not just a spectator of the universe, he was a participant. And the whisper that had haunted him, the small moment in the diner, had set this entire journey into motion. As they walked together toward a glowing tower, Jonathan knew one thing for certain: his life had changed forever. The galaxy was waiting, and he was finally ready to meet it. Jonathan's first steps onto Lyra's world felt like stepping into a dream. The platform beneath him shimmered softly, and the air vibrated with gentle energy that made every sound, every breath, feel alive. He looked around, taking in the floating gardens, luminous towers and streams of light connecting everything like threads of a web. Humans and aliens moved together in harmony, sharing ideas, building, and laughing. Lyra led him along a path that curved around a glowing waterfall, the water suspended midair, twisting into patterns that seemed impossible. "This planet is designed to help people grow," she explained. "Humans, aliens, everyone, we learn from each other. We create together." Jonathan's mouth went dry. "It's incredible," she smiled. "It's more than incredible, it's potential realized, and you're here to experience it, to see what humans are capable of when they believe in themselves and in each other." They approached a large plaza where humans and aliens gathered in small groups. Some were sharing knowledge, using holographic displays to teach languages, science, and art. Others were experimenting with gravity fields, creating floating sculptures that twisted and turned like living organisms. Children played nearby, chasing glowing orbs that hovered in the air, laughing and shouting in dozens of languages. Jonathan's eyes widened. "They're all learning together," Lyra nodded. "Yes, that's how progress happens. Curiosity, collaboration, and courage. Humans have a lot to offer and we want them to see it for themselves." A young human boy floating slightly above the ground using a small anti-gravity device waved at Jonathan. "Hi, want to try?" Jonathan laughed nervously. I don't know if I'm very good at this." "You'll learn," the boy said. "It's fun, I promise." Lyra guided Jonathan to a nearby station. "Let's start simple," she said. "Humans often doubt themselves, but here, doubt doesn't hold you back. Curiosity does." Jonathan took a deep breath and extended his hands. A small device floated up and spun in front of him. The boy demonstrated, and Jonathan carefully manipulated it, watching as it responded to his movements. Slowly, he began to control it, the device spinning and twisting exactly as he intended. A small cheer went up from a nearby group, and Jonathan felt a thrill of pride. "This is amazing," he said, grinning. "I never thought I could do something like this." Lyra's smile was warm. "That's the first step. Humans are often stronger than they think. Here you'll see it more clearly." As they moved through the plaza, Jonathan saw other humans excelling in surprising ways. A group was designing a floating bridge of light, their ideas combined with alien engineers who guided the process. Another human was creating a holographic garden that changed colors with sound, each note creating new patterns. Everywhere he looked, humans were thriving, contributing, and learning. "People often underestimate themselves," Lyra said. "They focus on mistakes, failures, and fear. Here, the focus is on potential, on growth, on what humans can accomplish when they believe they can." Jonathan nodded, feeling a spark of determination. He had spent most of his life worrying about being awkward, about failing, about never being enough. But now, seeing humans and aliens working together, seeing creativity and courage everywhere, he felt something shift inside him. They reached a tower that stretched high into the sky. Its surface was smooth, reflecting the colors of the surroundings. "This is the Knowledge Tower," Lyra explained. "It holds information, ideas, and experiences from across the galaxy. You can learn anything here, from science to art, history to philosophy." Jonathan's eyes widened. Anything?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, but the tower isn't just for reading. It's for doing, for creating. Knowledge without action is like a star without light. You'll see how humans contribute." Inside the tower, the air shimmered with holographic displays. Each display projected an interactive lesson, a collaborative project, or a challenge to solve. Jonathan wandered through the halls, amazed by the variety of human and alien creativity. He touched one display, and it expanded into a holographic puzzle, requiring both logical thinking and imagination. He worked carefully, trying different combinations, and slowly the puzzle solved itself under his guidance. A soft voice echoed in the hall. "Well done, Jonathan," the AI said. "You have demonstrated observation, creativity, and perseverance. Qualities that humans often underestimate in themselves." Jonathan smiled. "Thank you. I never thought I could do something like this." Lyra appeared beside him. "That's the thing, most humans never try, but you're here and you are trying. That makes all the difference." As they moved higher in the tower, Jonathan saw displays of human achievements on other worlds. He saw humans working with alien species to terraform planets, design energy-efficient cities, and develop art that combined sound, light, and motion in ways he could barely imagine. Each project seemed impossible at first glance, but humans had made it real through curiosity, courage, and collaboration. Jonathan felt a swell of pride. He was part of something larger now, something meaningful. Humans were not just surviving, they were contributing, learning, and creating across the galaxy. Lyra guided him to a platform that looked down on the entire tower. From here, he could see the floating gardens, the bridges of light, and the plaza bustling with activity. "This is what humans can be," she said softly, "capable, creative, and courageous. And you are here to see it, to experience it, and to learn from it." Jonathan took a deep breath, letting the view sink in. He felt small and large at the same time, Small because the galaxy was vast and full of wonders. Large because he could now see humanity's place within it. They were not just observers. They were participants, contributors, creators. Lyra, he said quietly, I never imagined any of this. I always thought humans were ordinary, but now I see we're capable of so much. She smiled, her eyes shining. Ordinary is only what humans believe. Potential is infinite. Here you can see it, you can feel it. And soon you will contribute to it. Jonathan's heart raced. He had thought this journey was about finding Lyra or following a mysterious whisper, but now he realized it was about more than that. It was about discovering what humans were truly capable of when given the opportunity, the guidance, and the courage to try. He spent the next hours exploring, learning, and experimenting. He tried new forms of art, manipulating light and sound to create patterns that danced in the air. He observed alien technology and found ways humans could improve it, offering creative solutions. He interacted with children, teaching them small concepts he knew well and learning from their fearless curiosity. Each moment brought a new realization. Humans could adapt, innovate, and collaborate in ways he had never dreamed possible. By the end of the day, Jonathan felt transformed. The initial fear and awkwardness that had plagued him during the horrible date seemed like a distant memory. He had discovered something deeper about himself, about humans, and about the galaxy. The whisper from the diner had been the spark. The pendant had guided him, and Lyra had shown him the path. As night fell on Lyra's world, the floating lights of the city glimmered like stars brought to Earth. Jonathan stood on a platform overlooking the entire landscape, pendant in hand, feeling a sense of belonging he had never known. Lyra joined him, placing a hand on his shoulder. The galaxy is full of wonders, she said softly, but it's also full of potential. Humans like you remind us of what is possible. Never forget that. Jonathan nodded. I won't. I think I understand now. This isn't just about me finding a new life. It's about discovering what humans can do when we try, when we believe, and when we create together. Lyra smiled. Exactly. And tomorrow you'll begin a new part of this journey. You'll meet others who are doing incredible things, and you'll have the chance to contribute in ways you've never imagined. Are you ready? Jonathan looked out at the glowing towers, the floating gardens, the humans and aliens working together. He felt a thrill of anticipation, excitement, and hope. I'm ready, he said, his voice steady, confident. Let's see what we can do. For the first time, Jonathan understood that the whisper in the diner was not just a moment of kindness. It was a doorway to discovery, to growth, and to a future filled with potential. And as he looked across Lyra's world, he knew that this was only the beginning. The morning sun rose over Lyra's world, casting soft golden light across the floating towers and shimmering gardens. Jonathan stood on the balcony of the Knowledge Tower, feeling the warmth on his face and listening to the gentle hum of the city below. The air vibrated softly, as if the entire planet was alive, observing and welcoming him. He had slept well, surprisingly well, and he felt a renewed sense of purpose. Today, Lyra had promised, he would discover more about the galaxy and about humanity's place within it. Lyra arrived with her usual quiet smile. Good morning, she said. Are you ready to see what humans can truly achieve? Jonathan nodded, feeling a spark of excitement. I think I am. After yesterday, I feel different, stronger, more capable. She gestured to a nearby transport pad which shimmered slightly under the morning light. Then come. There's someone I want you to meet. Jonathan followed her, stepping onto the pad. The transport shimmered and lifted, moving smoothly above the floating bridges. He looked down at the bustling city below, watching humans and aliens work together in harmony. There was a rhythm to the place, a sense of purpose, and Jonathan realized he was no longer just an observer. He belonged here. They arrived at a massive hall, circular in shape, with walls made of transparent energy that glowed softly. Inside, beings of every species imaginable were gathered. Some were human, others alien, but all were focused on a single purpose: learning, sharing, and collaborating. At the center of the hall stood a figure taller than most, radiating calm authority. "This," Lyra said softly, "is Ambassador Kale. He oversees the Alliance of Worlds, a network that encourages cooperation, knowledge sharing, and innovation across the galaxy." Jonathan's eyes widened. "The entire galaxy," Kale smiled warmly. "Not the entire galaxy yet. But many worlds have joined and humanity has begun to stand out. Your species has the potential to contribute greatly, Jonathan. That is why you are here." Jonathan felt a mix of pride and disbelief. "Me? Why me?" Lyra stepped closer. "Because sometimes humans need a nudge. You had the courage to follow a whisper. That small act, seemingly ordinary, showed something remarkable: curiosity, persistence, and belief in more than the immediate world. The galaxy noticed." Jonathan swallowed. I don't know what to say." Kale nodded. "You don't need to say anything. Your actions will speak louder than words." Lyra gestured to a holographic table at the center of the hall. A glowing map of the galaxy appeared, with points of light representing planets and civilizations. Some were small and blue, others larger and golden. Lines connected them, representing trade routes, alliances, and knowledge exchanges. "This map," Kale explained, "shows how the alliance functions. Each point is a world contributing something unique: technology, art, science, philosophy. Humans are new to this network, but already your species, creativity, and adaptability stand out." Jonathan leaned closer. He saw small symbols on the map, symbols that moved, shifted, and pulsed like tiny stars. "And my role?" he asked. Kale smiled. "Your role, Jonathan, is to learn, to explore, and to contribute. You were chosen not for skill alone, but for potential. Humans have a special ability to adapt, to imagine, and to inspire. You will see this firsthand." Lyra took his hand gently. "Sometimes, Jonathan, people think they are small, ordinary, or unimportant, but potential is not measured by size or experience. It is measured by willingness to grow and to take the first step. You took that step, and now the galaxy welcomes you." Jonathan's heart raced. The same feeling he had experienced in the diner, the warmth of Lyra's whisper, returned, stronger than ever. It was not just encouragement, it was a recognition of what he could be. Kale gestured to the map. "We have many challenges across the galaxy: worlds that need help with resources, communities seeking knowledge, civilizations wishing to learn from each other. Humans have a natural curiosity and ingenuity that can make a difference. You will work with others, both human and alien, to solve problems, share ideas, and create solutions." Jonathan nodded slowly, feeling the weight of responsibility but also the thrill of opportunity. "I understand," he said. I want to help. I want to contribute." Kale's eyes twinkled. "Good. That is the first step. The next is to explore, to understand, and to experience. You will see humans at their best, and you will learn how to inspire them to be even better." Lyra led him to a nearby platform where a small shuttle waited. "Your first mission," she said, "is not dangerous. It is educational. You will visit 3 worlds, each showcasing human potential in different ways. Observe, learn, and take note. Your task is to understand how humans can thrive and contribute across the galaxy." Jonathan stepped into the shuttle, excitement bubbling in his chest. He had spent so long feeling small, invisible, and incapable. Now he was part of something bigger than himself, a galaxy filled with opportunity, creativity, and collaboration. The shuttle lifted, gliding smoothly above the city. As they left Lyra's world behind, Jonathan gazed out at the stars, feeling a sense of wonder unlike anything he had known. "I never imagined," he whispered. "I never imagined humans could do so much." Lyra smiled beside him. "Humans can do more than you know. And you will see it for yourself. Each world you visit will teach you something new, something about ingenuity, compassion, and creativity. The first world they visited was a small human colony on a desert planet. At first glance, it seemed barren, almost lifeless. But as the shuttle descended, Jonathan saw the truth. Humans had transformed the planet. There were terraces of green, shimmering water channels and buildings that seemed to grow from the sand itself. A group of humans was working alongside alien engineers, constructing energy-harvesting towers. They moved with precision and care, communicating through gestures, words, and holograms. Jonathan watched in awe as a young girl adjusted a device that stabilized the towers, her hands steady and confident despite her small size. Lyra explained, "This world shows human adaptability. Where others see obstacles, humans see opportunities. They innovate, experiment, and improve. Even in harsh conditions, they thrive." Jonathan nodded, feeling a swell of pride. "It's amazing," he said. "They're capable of so much." The shuttle moved to the second world, a lush jungle planet where humans were creating floating habitats among giant trees. Bridges of light connected the homes, and children played in zero-gravity fields created by soft energy fields. Humans and aliens shared knowledge freely, learning from each other to improve the environment and their technology. "This world shows creativity," Lyra said. "Humans do not just survive, they create, imagine, and enhance life around them. They see possibilities others overlook." Jonathan marveled at the floating gardens, the harmony between species, and the joy on the faces of the people he observed. "I never knew humans could do this," he whispered. "It's beautiful." Finally, they visited a city orbiting a massive gas giant, where humans were working to harness energy from the planet's magnetic storms. They collaborated with alien scientists to design equipment that converted the storms into sustainable power for the entire city. Jonathan watched as a team of engineers, both human and alien, adjusted complex instruments, sharing knowledge and ideas seamlessly. "This world shows cooperation," Lyra said. "Humans can work with anyone, adapt to any challenge, and contribute to solutions that benefit all. They have an innate drive to connect, to share, and to create positive change." Jonathan felt a deep sense of awe. The galaxy was vast, full of life and potential, and humans, his species, were capable of greatness beyond imagination. The whisper in the diner, the pendant, the journey, it all made sense now. Each step had led him here, to a place where humans were no longer small, ordinary, or overlooked. As the shuttle returned to Lyra's world, Jonathan realized something profound. The galaxy was not just a place of wonder, it was a mirror. It reflected humanity's potential back to itself, and if humans could see themselves as the galaxy saw them, they could achieve anything. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder as they landed. "Jonathan, what you have seen today is only the beginning. The galaxy is full of challenges and opportunities, but humans have the ability to rise, to create, and to inspire. And now, you will carry this knowledge forward." Jonathan nodded, feeling a sense of clarity and purpose he had never known. "I understand, and I want to help. I want to contribute, to learn, to grow, and to show humans what we can do." Lyra smiled warmly. "Then your journey is just beginning. The galaxy awaits your curiosity, courage, and creativity." As Jonathan looked out over the glowing towers of Lyra's world, he realized the truth of her words. The whisper in the diner, the mysterious pendant, the journey, it had all led to this moment. He was no longer just a man who had suffered a horrible date. He was a human capable of greatness, chosen by the galaxy to witness, learn, and contribute. And in that moment, Jonathan knew everything had changed. Jonathan stood on the edge of the observation platform, the gentle hum of Lyra's world beneath him. The floating city stretched endlessly, towers gleaming in soft sunlight, streams of energy connecting gardens, plazas, and bridges. Humans and aliens moved together with purpose, creating, building, learning. For the first time in his life, Jonathan felt completely alive. Lyra approached quietly, her presence as calm and steady as ever. "Jonathan," she said softly, "today you will take your first step as a true contributor. The galaxy is waiting for humans to show what we can do, and you are ready." Jonathan nodded. I feel ready," he said. He looked out across the city, remembering his horrible date, the whisper in the diner, and the journey that had brought him here. It seemed like a different life entirely. That lonely, awkward man felt distant now, replaced by someone capable of curiosity, creativity, and courage. Lyra led him to a central plaza, where a gathering of humans and aliens awaited. At the center was Ambassador Kale, overseeing a council of representatives from dozens of worlds. They were discussing an upcoming project, creating a universal library that would store knowledge, art, technology, and culture from every participating species. This library would be accessible to anyone who wished to learn, explore, or contribute. Kale turned to Jonathan. "Jonathan, we have seen your curiosity, your courage, and your creativity. Today, you will join others to help design and implement the Universal Knowledge Library. Your perspective as a human and your willingness to embrace potential will guide this project." Jonathan felt a mix of awe and nervous excitement. I will do my best," he said. "Your best is enough," Kale replied. "It always is, when it is guided by curiosity and a desire to contribute." Lyra took his hand and led him to a workstation surrounded by holographic displays. "This is where your ideas will come to life," she said. "You will collaborate with humans and aliens, designing sections of the library that reflect creativity, science, art, and culture. Every contribution matters." Jonathan took a deep breath and focused. He had learned so much over the past days: human potential, alien collaboration, creativity, courage, and the importance of contribution. Now it was time to act. Hours passed as he worked alongside teams of humans and aliens. He suggested interactive displays for human art, combining sound, light, and motion in ways that fascinated both species. He collaborated on educational modules, creating lessons that would teach problem-solving, collaboration, and creativity. He helped design an entire section of the library devoted to storytelling, where humans could share experiences, myths, and dreams across species and generations. Every idea he contributed was met with encouragement. The aliens adapted his concepts in ways he hadn't imagined, adding their own perspective. Humans improved each other's designs, building on creativity and imagination. Jonathan felt a thrill with every success, a warmth in his chest that reminded him of Lyra's whisper. As night fell on Lyra's world, the platform glowed softly with the lights of the city below. The library project was far from finished, but Jonathan stepped back and looked at what had been accomplished. Sections of the library floated above the plaza, glowing with energy and light, representing knowledge, creativity, and collaboration. Lyra approached, her eyes shining. "You see, Jonathan, this is what happens when humans embrace potential, take risks, and collaborate. You didn't just contribute ideas, you inspired others to contribute as well." Jonathan smiled, a sense of pride and fulfillment washing over him. I never thought I could do something like this," he said. "I never imagined humans could be part of something so big, so meaningful." Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "Humans always have potential. Sometimes it just takes a small moment, a whisper, a choice to set everything in motion. You followed that moment, Jonathan. You trusted it, and now you are part of something extraordinary." He thought back to the diner, to her words, "I would have stayed." What he had assumed was a simple act of kindness now felt like a key to the entire journey. That tiny whisper had sparked everything: the journey to Lyra's world, the discovery of human potential, and his first steps toward making a difference in the galaxy. As the days passed, Jonathan continued to work on the library, learning, growing, and contributing. He saw humans and aliens alike inspired by creativity, cooperation, and shared curiosity. He taught lessons, designed exhibits, and even helped mediate discussions between species, using patience and understanding he had never known he possessed. One evening, Lyra and Jonathan stood together on a balcony overlooking the city. The sky was filled with stars, planets, and distant suns, a reminder of the galaxy's infinite possibilities. "Jonathan," Lyra said softly, "look at what humans can do. You see it firsthand now. We trusted in the potential of your species, and you have shown what is possible. The galaxy is changed because humans are learning to embrace who they are." Jonathan nodded, a smile spreading across his face. "I see it, Lyra. I see humans can do so much more than we ever believed, and I want to help them continue to grow, to contribute, and to inspire." Lyra's smile was gentle, proud. "And you will. You are only at the beginning. Your journey and humanity's is just starting." The whisper in the diner was not just about one moment. It was about everything that could follow. Jonathan took a deep breath, feeling the weight and joy of responsibility. He had come so far from the lonely, awkward man sitting in a diner, embarrassed by a terrible date. That man was gone, replaced by someone ready to contribute, explore, and inspire. He glanced at the pendant glowing softly against his chest, a constant reminder of that first whisper. He realized now that it wasn't magic, it was trust, faith, and guidance. It had led him here, to a place where humans were capable of greatness, and where he could help show the galaxy just what humanity could achieve. In the following weeks, Jonathan's contributions grew. He traveled to other worlds, sharing knowledge, teaching humans and aliens how to collaborate, and learning from every encounter. He saw humans transform barren planets into thriving ecosystems, develop technology to improve life across worlds, and create art that united species through shared understanding. Each time he returned to Lyra's world, he marveled at how much humans had grown. The Universal Knowledge Library continued to expand, floating above the city like a beacon of learning, creativity, and hope. Jonathan knew that the galaxy was not just observing humans, it was learning from them, inspired by their courage, adaptability, and imagination. One evening, Lyra led him back to the diner from which the journey had begun. The familiar neon lights glowed softly, though the diner was quieter than he remembered. Jonathan walked in, remembering the awkward date, the whispered words, and the start of everything. Lyra smiled at him. "This place, it is where your journey truly began. A small moment, a small choice, and look at all that followed." Jonathan nodded, feeling a profound sense of gratitude. "I never imagined it would lead here. I never imagined humans could contribute so much, be so capable." She reached out and placed a hand on his arm. "Humans always could. Sometimes it just takes a whisper to remind them, and a little courage to follow it." Jonathan smiled, realizing that every step, every choice, every small action could ripple across the galaxy in ways he had never imagined. The horrible date, the lonely diner, the whispered words, they had all set the stage for something far greater than he had ever expected. He looked at Lyra, then at the pendant glowing softly against his chest, and finally out at the stars beyond the diner's windows. "Everything has changed," he said softly, with a smile. "And it all started with a whisper." Lyra's eyes sparkled. "And now, Jonathan, you are ready to show the galaxy just what humans can do." Jonathan took a deep breath, filled with hope, determination, and excitement. He knew the journey would continue, that humans would continue to grow, learn, and create. But he also knew that the galaxy would never be the same again. Humanity had arrived, and with courage, creativity, and curiosity, they would leave a mark that would be remembered for generations. The stars outside twinkled like distant promises, the city below glowed with life, and Jonathan felt the profound truth of Lyra's words. One small moment, a whisper, had changed everything, and now he was ready to embrace the infinite possibilities that awaited. For the first time, Jonathan truly understood. Humans were capable of greatness, and he would help them achieve it. As the night settled over Lyra's world, Jonathan and Lyra stood together, watching the city shimmer with the light of countless possibilities. The galaxy was alive, the humans were rising, and everything had indeed changed.